Andrew Berry talked about the Browns' defense. The question that he was asked, does their lack of size up front, specifically in the middle of that defense, is that causing some problems?
It's no secret that our scheme and our defensive philosophy, how this system is designed, is more predicated on speed than size, and largely because of what we'll ask the defensive line or the second level to do in coverage, or how we really kind of move the front. Look, I think quite honestly there are just different philosophies in terms of how you can defend. There are some teams that prioritize size and more of like a two-gapping model, but I think it's probably less about how you do it, but more, do you do it well, and do you do the details well? And I think that's really what's probably changed a little bit over the last couple of weeks on that side of the ball. I just think that we've been a little bit more fine-tuned and consistent in those areas.
And Quincy, it makes sense. It's still, we've talked about the defensive tackles and teams that can run the ball and line up and knock you off the line of scrimmage still concern you if you're a Browns fan looking at that defense.
Yeah, I think their bet is that we can get away with it, right? Like that's what the bet is that we can ultimately get away with it because we're talented enough. And that bet, and honestly, the only time where that bet blew up in their face is when they didn't have Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney for a game. And I think that's the biggest problem with it, is like they're betting on teams to say, hey, we're not going to run the ball at Jadeveon Clowney and Myles Garrett 20 times a game. Like, that's just not what we're going to do. Even if we think we can do it, we're not going to do it because we don't want to put the ball near those two guys that often. But some teams have been creative enough, like the Chargers, to figure out how to run at them without having to run at Myles and Jadeveon, right? Like some pin pull strategies and things like that, or some just straight up misdirection. But yeah, that's the bet that the Browns are going to make. It's a solid bet. And the truth of the matter is that we're at the point now of our build where, like, we think of the team as building infinitely and we're going to have every cover for every weakness on this team. But the reality is you're just going to have some weaknesses. Every team does. Even the Bills have weaknesses. The Chiefs have weaknesses. Everybody's going to have weaknesses because you can't design strength on everything. And this is one of those points to where, hey, they're sacrificing some of the stability in the middle, right, to be able to stop some middle runs, to be able to be laterally dominant. And that's the bet. And they got to win on those bets to make it make sense for that weakness to not really hurt you. And that's what happened in the first 5 weeks of the season. They weren't winning enough on those bets. But yeah, that's the gamble that they're taking. And at some point, you just got to pick a strength and you got to pick a weakness.